ladies and gentlemen, making their KROQ debut, Velvet Revolver, in the studio here at KROQ.
Hello, people.
You have been hearing the song Slither here on KROQ. The CD is going to be called Contraband, coming out on June 8th, and the band is going to be playing at the Wiltern on June 8th and 9th. Tickets are going on sale next Saturday, 1 week from tomorrow at Ticketmaster. So we got Scott, good morning.
Good morning.
Good to see you again, dude. Slash, hi.
Hey.
Duff.
Yep, right here.
Matt.
Yes, sir.
Dave, nice to meet you.
Hi.
Fantastic. Velvet Revolver is here. What's up, guys? How you feeling?
We're feeling pretty groggy.
It's early.
We were talking to Slash about getting up as early. What time you get up? 5:30 this morning?
I got up at 5:30.
When was the last time you went to bed and then got up at 5:30 in the morning?
A year ago, I guess.
Yeah, this is definitely not rock and roll time.
I know.
And we've unfortunately, we have a long history of dragging Weiland out of bed at ungodly hours. I mean, we've done this to you a bunch of times over the past few years, haven't we?
Yeah, but I think, a few of those times I probably never slept.
Yeah, that's what I'm used to, is just not sleeping.
That's the key. You just stay up and then you just power through it. Yeah, I got you.
Well, we got so many questions. We've been hearing about the band for a long time. And then, of course, as far as I understand, you just had the one gig last year, right?
Right. At
Did one concert.
Yeah,
and so we've kind of been waiting with bated breath to find out what happens next. Kind of give us the overview of how Velvet Revolver came to be. Who called who? How did it work? And how does it feel?
Oh. This is Duff's good at this one.
Yeah. All right. Well, basically, Slash and Matt and I got together initially. We did a benefit show, and I was up in Seattle, going to Seattle U, getting my finance degree. And really, the first 5 minutes we played together, I knew life was going to change thereafter. Dave Kushner and I had been playing together, so he came in, he was a perfect fit, perfect yin to Slash's yang.
Mm-hmm.
We started writing songs and went through a whole process, and then we got offered these 2 movie soundtracks, The Hulk and Italian Job. Scott and I were pals, and one thing led to another, and Stone Temple Pilots ended right at the time we got these 2 movies, really.
Mm-hmm.
And it just, everything has been sort of fate. It fell right into place. Scott came in, and he kind of just swaggered in, and really at that moment, it was like, okay, this looks like this is the guy.
It's like you've been in the band
Well,
for
yeah,
a year
at that
already.
time in my life, I think I was still sort of swaggering and I sort of fell into the rehearsal room at that time. And it was sort of a phase going from one period and into the next, and these guys kind of helped me into the phase I'm into now.
How many different lead singers did you listen to, consider?
Oh, we listened to a lot. We didn't consider any of them, really. I mean,
Nothing struck. Just nope.
Yeah, we listened to a lot, and for us to do this thing right, we weren't going to just kind of go and, oh, that guy's okay, but let's just use him.
Right.
Scott is more in our vein. We all have traveled the same route.
Sure. When this thing first started,
We've all had the same narcotic misadventures.
Okay,
let's
all
say.
right. So,
say that.
Well, he said it's in your veins. He said that.
When this thing first started, we started thinking about singers. Scott was the first guy that we thought of.
Oh, it was. You guys said that guy would be
so
perfect.
It wasn't until 9
After
months
Sammy
later,
Hagar, obviously, right?
No, the Sammy Hagar thing was something else altogether.
Now,
they're trying to put me in their band.
We have to ask Scott, not to belabor the point, but just because we haven't heard from you, how did the decision come to dissolve Stone Temple Pilots? Those are your bros that you had been with for a long, long time.
Well, to tell you the truth, we never we've never really announced that the band is over. We just sort of, it just sort of kind of dissolved, and
Is it over?
It just seems to be that way.
Okay.
I think it's a bad thing to do to like make some kind of permanent announcement.
Because who knows?
Because it's just people end up embarrassing themselves that way. This is a band, though. Velvet Revolver is a band. This is not a project, and I kind of get sick of it being referred to as that. But it was the last time we played together as STP. It was the last gig of a tour where half the shows we were opening up for Aerosmith and half of the shows we were doing our own gigs. And it ended, it was a show that was not one of our better shows. And I think every time, Dean and I met on either side of the stage, we were elbowing each other, and finally carried over into the dressing room where we got into it. We got into a fight, and I threw a punch, and our tour manager and Jeff Kramer, a guy that works for us, they caught my fist before it landed. Yeah,
wow.
And then they had half the band got pulled to one hotel, and I was separated from into a different hotel, and then I didn't speak to him for over a year.
Wow.
And it ended up, it was kind of odd that we were recording drum tracks at NRG, a studio in the Valley.
Velvet was.
Yeah, Velvet Revolver.
Right.
And Robert and Dean were producing the Alien Ant Farm record in the room right next to ours.
We were sharing the same lounge.
Oh, yeah.
That wasn't awkward.
That was the second time
That's
that
not weird.
happened, though. The first time it happened was we were at another studio, doing Set Me Free, and I get this phone call on my way to the studio that Robert and Dean are producing right next to the room to ours.
Both times we were in the studio, they were there.
So
it's weird.
That's going to go good.
It forced us to get together and kind of bury the hatchet.
Yeah, I've got Dean's phone number now.
But wait, you
Dean
did?
and I spooned on the couch.
You did bury the hatchet? It's all...
Yeah, we did.
It's all okay?
I wrote Dean a letter and it got had someone deliver it to the room that they were in, the studio they were in, and just kind of
Just
I
put
made
the
amends.
anthrax in and send it out.
Yeah, it's basically
That's
And
cool.
I as they say in jail, I tossed him a kite.
Tossed him a kite.
Yeah,
Is that an expression we need to start working in every day?
that's what that means, Scott?
No, you're thinking of tossing a salad. It's completely different.
But so I just I made amends, and I cleaned up my side of the street, and so he came up, we talked, and
That's great.
we kissed, we hugged, we tossed salad, and the rest is history.
Now, I got to ask, Slash and Duff, Matt, and maybe Dave, you have some experience in this too with the bands that you've been in, but it's got to be funny for you to hear Scott talk about kind of the acrimonious STP final years because, from your years in Guns N' Roses, it's just nothing but flowers, man. I mean, that was just as smooth a ride as a band can have. It's just nothing ever went wrong.
No.
I reserve comment.
Yeah, it's great. Scott said there was a guy that always caught your fist, and there was those guys.
I was going to say, that happened to you.
I went after Axel a couple times.
Is that right? But somebody was
But
there
there
to
was
stop
always a
it?
guy there to stop me. And you
I
know
got
what?
stuck in the middle of you two. Weren't
Yeah.
you? This is not a good
Well,
place
thank
to
God, though. Because, it wasn't, you don't want to hit somebody. It's not good.
No, you don't. Slash, what's it like for you to see the Guns N' Roses revival that's going on right now? I mean, that Greatest Hits album came out. I think it's still in the top
It's
5.
still
You sold 1 million copies or something?
It's one of those things that must
weird,
be a
huh?
sign of the times. Because, 5 years ago, that wouldn't have happened. So I was really surprised to see it in the charts.
It's really interesting, actually, that there is such a switch right now in what's what's considered cool. With the new revival of American rock and roll, it's really exciting for us to see, and it's really inspiring because that's what we're about. We're an American rock and roll band, and even in the ultra cool Silver Lake,
Right.
these guys are and that's like the underground scene. The guys there, the kids there, the young people there are like dressing like, the way that Guns N' Roses and other sort of underground rock and roll Sunset Strip bands dress. And I'm not talking about the Poisons. I'm talking about like the Guns N' Roses.
The real ones.
The real bands dress. That's like the cool hip image, and so it's kind of interesting to see. So I think the time is kind of right for us.
Yeah.
The fads come and go. We just stay the same.
Yeah,
That's right.
Yeah.
It's great when it comes around. It's
Slash
cool,
just waited it out. Now he's like, he's the king again.
Actually, KROQ was the first station to play on Rodney on the Rock back in whatever. KROQ was the first one to play our music, our demo.
to the city.
It was like an 87 or something, right?
I think it was 86.
86
before we
even,
even did
yeah.
the record, and we were hip there, and then I guess we got too
Uncool.
big. And
You
we
see,
weren't hip.
that's the big misconception
That's so
with
weird.
Guns N' Roses is, once they got so big, Guns N' Roses were never a heavy metal band. I think Guns N' Roses, and before they got a record deal, you guys played equal amount of shows, played Sunset Strip, but actually played equal amount of shows in the
Social
underground clubs
Distortion.
with punk rock bands.
Chili
you know.
Peppers.
Oh, is that right?
Jane's
Raji's,
Addiction.
Texan Horseheads.
Yeah.
There was
Johnny
a-
Thunders.
Led Zeppelin.
On and on.
There's
Led
been so
Zeppelin.
much
Huh?
Fenders and Hungry
There's been so much frustration, though, for rock and roll fans over the past few years, seeing Axl kind of flirt with the new band, which I don't think anybody's ever been excited about it without a lot of you guys. But I mean, we always hoped that Guns N' Roses would come back and would be great again, because we really do feel like they had the potential to be one of the biggest and best bands of all time, and they just ended. It seemed like it just ended too soon. You guys have a lot of regrets about the way it came down?
I was just going to say, I have none. I mean, I look at the glass half full. It was 5 basically street urchins who came and met in Hollywood and really just stayed to our beliefs as far as songs and style or whatever, and just stayed there, and we got a record deal. We didn't let anybody come into the studio where we did the record.
We made absolutely no concessions to this business.
None. And cool. We went from there penniless to, at the end, playing multiple nights in some stadiums and around the world.
It happened fast. In 87, is that when Appetite for Destruction came out?
We actually toured it. It's kind of a misconception that it happened fast. We did tour for
2 years.
Before anything happened.
Okay. But Slash is so passive of a guy. The most upset I ever saw him was when he came to rehearsal one day and said, "Someone thought I changed my hat and now I'm wearing a bucket on my head."
And he was most upset about that?
Someone thought that you were wearing a Kentucky Fried Chicken bucket on your head now. Hey, man, that's a cool hat. It's like, dude, that's not me.
Slash, are there any pictures of you anywhere with short hair, by the way? Because I've never seen them. Have you ever had a crew cut or something?
I've only had short hair once in my life, and I don't know where those pictures are.
When you were born, right? Your baby pictures. That's
that doesn't count. I remember one summer, during high school, I guess it was.
Because you are the fuzziest man in rock, dude.
Thank you very much.
You really are.
Thanks for making that observation. Right?
Yeah. We have to take a quick break. The members of Velvet Revolver are here. We're going to kind of recap and talk a little bit about what's going on with the album, what's going on with the tour, what kind of music we're going to be hearing live today. This is a real thrill. I'm serious. We're so excited to see you guys, and especially Scott. We've had such a long history with you. We're always happy to see you healthy and happy. So this is very gratifying for us. But we'll take a quick break and return with more of Velvet Revolver right after this on KROQ. You are listening to the Kevin and Bean Show for a Friday morning. The band Velvet Revolver is in our studio. You've been hearing Slither here on KROQ, and I know you're going to be playing that live here in a few minutes. Tell us about the CD Contraband coming out on June 8th. What's it all about, guys?
Who can describe that?
You know what? It's just really about the chemistry of this band and a certain ferocity that came out of us all getting together and putting the songs together and recording them basically live.
Some bands do 12 songs and put them on the CD. Some bands do 3,000 songs and pick 12. What do you guys do?
We did 80. We put 13 on it.
80?
We had a bunch of riffs, We had probably 45, 50 riffs or whatever before Scott came. Mm-hmm. And then Scott kind of picked the riffs that he liked and that he thought he could sing over, and basically came back with about 13 or 14 things. And we pretty much just pulled the trigger, got in the studio, got with Josh Abraham, and did it.
And Scott, you do the lyrics by yourself? Or?
Yeah, the lyrics and melodies. I remember, I think it was Duff got me some music, and then Slash got me some music, and, just kind of tried to figure out what songs I could wrap my head around, and then, we'd work out those songs, and, we'd record them to DAT and throw them in the Pro Tools, and work on those, and then we wrote a bunch of new songs.
Together, you mean?
Yeah, together.
Headspace, Superhuman.
Yeah, there were 7 new songs, and 6 songs that were written previously.
Yeah. Did it go easy?
It was so.
Yes.
It
felt like you guys were just meant to get together and do all this stuff.
It was one of those things where you just don't. You find this once in your life is a rarity. I mean, it was so inspired.
Wow.
I was like,
Yeah, like the gig we played.
That's cool.
The gig we played, and that was after, recording the 2 songs that we recorded in the studio for the 2 movies. That was like to sort of figure out if we were a real band or not. Because you don't really know if you're a rock and roll band until you play live.
Just try it out and see if it works.
Yeah, and it was immediate, By the end of the first song, we opened with Bodies by the Sex Pistols. We just knew it immediately. The energy was just overwhelming. And
that's why you couldn't wait to get back out on stage and not do another gig ever.
Yeah. Well, we started getting record deal offers, and it was like it was a bidding war, and we wanted to get right into the studio studio and make a record.
But for a second there, we were going to take the live taping of that El Rey show and release it as an EP and actually go on the road. That's what a buzz we had. But then we thought, we got more sensible about it and said, well, we should write the record.
But the waiting game hasn't been really on us. I mean, we've been waiting to put the record out, but we've been doing just so much press. Duff and Slash just got back from Europe. They were there for a couple weeks, and the press is just endless, to build this thing. Well,
it's a great story. You got all these elements that you already know, and everybody's curious to see how they're going to gel together.
And we're alive.
But we were in the starting gate back in December when we finished the record. We were ready to go, but
I was
the powers to be wouldn't let us.
I was sort of chained up into a
I forgot about that
rehab
there was
for
that.
a while.
Rehabilitated.
Oh yeah, that's why we could.
Will that be a problem on the road? Is that going to be a tough thing?
It was luckily, and I worked my ass off to do what I had to do and fulfill my commitments, so that's kind of behind me now. And
good for you.
The road is not a challenge. Do you see it that way?
No, to me, it's actually sort of a safe haven, because everything's kind of regimented, and you're out there doing what you love to do. And in the past, it's been more difficult being in LA, bored.
It's a downtime.
But now, having a family and stuff, I'm not bored at all. And we have a real strong work ethic here with this band. We rehearse all the time. So I never get bored. And besides, having children, it's so hard to get bored. So that that really reminds me, I want to just say hello to my wonderful wife, Mary, and say I love you very much.
Oh, very sweet. Yeah. The tour, by the way, as I understand from RCA, your label starts on May 13th, which is only a couple weeks away. Right. May 13th in St. Louis. And the last dates that we have are right here in Los Angeles. You're playing the Wiltern on the 8th and 9th of June. That's going to be right when your album comes out, too, on June 8th. And tickets are going on sale a week from tomorrow through Ticketmaster at 10 o'clock. If you want to be among the first people in the country to see Velvet Revolver, you can go do that. And I think what we're going to do is take a quick break for sports and news, and then we're going to move you guys into the other KROQ studio and actually hear the band live for the first time, right?
We're going to do a live acoustic set.
What are we going to hear? What do you guys have planned for us? Or do you want to just...
You'll hear
tease us, all right? All right.
But it's a mellow version of Slither, acoustically. Okay. And then we got a couple other numbers we're going to
a couple surprises.
Present you.
Fantastic. Little band there by the name of Velvet Revolver.
Now, whatever happened to those guys, man? I thought they were going to do something.
Set Me Free. They are in the studio ready to perform. You guys ready? Can you hear us in there?
Oh, yeah.
Fantastic. Which song are you going to do first?
We are going to perform our new single, Slither.
Listen to Scott Weiland with the rock and roll echo on his voice, by the way. That's very cool.
That's right. We brought in a few toys.
Oh, they took it off. Tricks. Hey, put the echo back on. It sounds good.
Yeah, give me that echo there, Douglas Green.
There you go.
We've been hearing Slither here on KROQ for the past couple of weeks or so. It's from the CD called Contraband. Velvet Revolver's new album will be out on June the 8th, but we're going to hear a little different version live in the studios of KROQ. Take it away, boys.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Big reaction. Hello, Cleveland.
Ladies and gentlemen.
That is Slither acoustic here on KROQ. The band is Velvet Revolver. By the way, if you want to buy the version that you've been hearing on KROQ, you can do that online. You're selling it at iTunes or the Legal Napster or Walmart.com, other sites, I guess. You can pick up Slither. The CD's coming out June 8th. When you guys do the concert tour that's going to be here at the Wiltern, how much of the catalog from your past bands are we going to be hearing, if any at all?
We are going to be playing the whole album, and we've actually been checking out the velvetrevolver.com website and chat rooms, and, the fans are really interested in hearing us play the album. That's what they said they've been wanting to hear, but we will be playing a couple songs from our past bands, from SDP and from Guns N' Roses.
Awesome.
I think it'll be fun for the fans to hear those songs. To hear me singing a couple GNR songs, and it's really a lot of fun for me because Appetite for Destruction in particular was a really important record for me. You know, to me, that was like my Never Mind the Bullocks, Here's the Sex Pistols.
Right.
You know, that was that record for me. It was the album that just put the fist up the heart of rock and roll, you know.
Scott?
That's awesome. Huh?
Scott, I got to say, Core was very important for me, not only as a record, but I used to chop drugs on top of it.
That's a beautiful moment that the band has something in common. How about that?
You and Sammy Davis over here giving the love, right?
That's right. Again, June 8th is when the Contraband comes out. We'll look forward to that. We're going to have time, I think, to have you play a couple more songs here this morning. We can probably do one more right now before the break, right, Kevin?
Yeah, let's do
one.
one.
Or we need to break first. What do we need to do?
You know what? If you guys don't mind, let's take a break here, then we'll come back with 2 songs.
All right.
Duff, you want to do it here instead? If you want to do it here, we can.
Let's do it.
All right. We'll do a song here, then we'll take a break, and we'll come back with the final song. It's Velvet Revolver in the studios of KROQ. Look at that.
Sounds good.
What's that new song about, Scott?
Yeah, that was just something we threw together here at
That is
Yesterday.
That is great. Velvet Revolver in the studios. We're going to take a quick break and come back. You want to tease us with what you're going to play next, or just make us wait? It is the Kevin and Bean Show on the world-famous KROQ 106.7 KROQ at 9:30. Very excited to have Velvet Revolver in our studios. They played 2 songs already.
And I want to mention, by the way, for folks maybe who tuned into the radio late, if you're not sure, you've heard the name Velvet Revolver. Who's that? Well, it's our old friend Scott Weiland on vocals. We got Slash playing guitar. Slash, it's an honor and a thrill to have you on the Kevin and Bean Show for the first time today, by the way. Also, Duff and Matt are here, also from Guns N' Roses, and Dave Kushner, also in the band Velvet Revolver. And these guys got a record coming out on the 8th of June. You can see them at the Wiltern in May. Tickets are going on sale a week from tomorrow at 10 o'clock through Ticketmaster.
All right, one more song. What do you guys have for us? A little surprise.
Here you go.
All right.
1, 2. 1, 2, 3.
I used to love her, but I had to kill her. That's perfectly reasonable, by the way. I can totally understand where you're coming from on that. That is fun. That's great stuff, you guys. It's awesome to have you in here this morning, and can't wait to see you come back when you play the Wiltern. That's going to be cool.
Thank you very much.
Slither is the new song. The album is Contraband. It comes out June 8th, and then June 8th and 9th are when the band is playing the Wiltern. Tickets for that go on sale 1 week from tomorrow at 10 a.m., Saturday, May 8th at 10 a.m. at Ticketmaster outlets.
Don't let the scalpers buy all the tickets before the kids can.
There you go. Yeah. I don't know how to keep that from happening. We fight that every single time we have a good show, so we'll give that a shot. Guys, thanks very much for coming in. We loved having you.
Hey, thank you guys.
You
Thank
bet.
you very much.
Take care.